All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. Thank you for attending the board's Lunch and Learn webinar series. My name is Allison. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Nebraska Board of Engineers and Architects. With me is Amy Habe, the board's Compliance Officer. She'll be helping with questions and monitoring the chat box today. Before we get started, just wanted to let everyone know this webinar is being recorded. It'll be uploaded to the board's YouTube channel. So if you're unable to stay for the whole presentation or would like to reference it later, it will be posted on the board's YouTube channel. Additionally, these slides are available on the webinar information page under the webinar materials sections. These slides are either full pages of each slide or 3 slides to a page with the ability to take notes next to them. It is made so you can type directly onto the PDF if you would like. So at the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer section. So if you have questions, we will answer them then. But if you do have questions that are specific to the slide we're reviewing, please feel free to type your question into the chat box and we will get to them as we can. Also, everyone is muted for the presentation, so the chat feature is going to be the only way to ask questions during the presentation. So lastly, for those who do participate, and an email will be sent to you within the next week confirming your attendance and possible use for CE credits. If you do choose to use this for CE credits, please use the email that I send as the attendance verification. I do anticipate the board giving credit for the webinar, but as a reminder, the board does not pre-approve any CE offerings.
We have some people having some issues with the sound, so I'm just replying to them, but you can keep going. Allison, I think we lost your sound.
Oh, there it goes. I don't know why my sound turned off. All right, well, can everyone hear me now?
Sure.
Okay, so we will be going over the new rules changes that recently went into effect. And then also looking at Board Rule 6.3, the over coordinating professionals. And then we will be going over Rule 6.5 over technical submissions. The update to the Public Works Exemption Level. And then we will have time for some questions. All right, so first, we're going to go over the new rules changes that recently went into effect. So Governor Jim Pillen approved proposed changes to the board's rules. These changes were the subject of a public hearing that was held on December 1st, 2023, which was held by the board. During this meeting, there were no comments opposing these changes, and these changes went into effect March 16th, 2024. So one of the things that was updated for the handbook is the structural PE exam, Rule 2.4. So Board Rule 2.4 covers the examination requirements for professional engineers. And so Rule 2.4 was modified to accommodate the structural PE exam to computer-based testing in 2024. The structural PE exam is given in 4 sections, which is the vertical breadth, vertical depth, lateral breadth, and lateral depth. So an individual must pass all 4 sections to be eligible for the licensure. So the primary reason for this change is due to the seat time length at a Pearson View Test Center where the test is being held. All right, another change was made to Chapter 5, the Code of Practice. So there were some minor additions to the Code of Practice based on NCARB's model law changes that were made. The first is a licensee serving in a paid or voluntary public capacity shall not accept payments or gifts that are intended to influence the licensee's professional judgment. So this was added as Board Rule 5.2.4. And then next, a licensee shall not counsel or assist a client in conduct that the licensee knows or reasonably should know is fraudulent or illegal. And this was added as Rule 5.5.3. So another change is regarding as-built drawings. So if as-built drawings are produced from sealed design drawings, the seal of the licensee that prepared the drawings will either A, be removed if practical, or B, be accompanied by a note next to or over the seal indicating that the seal relates only to the design and not the as-builts. And so this was added as Board Rule 6.1.9.7. So a few other changes that were made. We removed the need for those who fail an engineering exam 4 or more times to present evidence of additional education. Additionally, we increased the amount of qualified educational debt the board may repay individuals who incur such debt from $50 to $100 for professional engineers, which was updated to Rule 3.7.1, and $100 to $150 for architects, which was Rule 2.8.1. Then a few more changes that were made. We revised coordinating professional rules, specifying that a professional landscape architect may act as a coordinating professional. This was already allowed in state statute. So we just added them to Board Rule 6.3.1. And then we also added the requirement of a final remediation letter from the remediation licensee confirming that the project complies, deficiencies have been removed, and taking responsibility for the rule. And this was added to Chapter 8, Rule 8.4.1.1.9. Our website does have a full list of changes, anything that was added, removed, updated. So if you visit the board's website, you'll want to select the enforcement option up top and then select from the drop-down menu the Nebraska Engineers and Regulation Act option. And then just scroll down maybe just a little bit and there will be a section highlighted in red below saying board rules updated. And this will list all of the changes. Additionally, the handbook is available on the website, a digital copy of it. Again, just go to our website, click the resources tab, drop down to publications, and it will have the handbook there as well as all of our other publications available. If you would like a copy of the handbook, you can request one free of charge. You can also, if you click the order materials button, it'll provide my email and you can shoot me an email with whatever you would like. Additionally, if you need any other publications, such as brochures, you may request them from me as well, and I'd be happy to send them over to you. And this is all free, so you won't come at any cost to you. So next we are going to review Board Rule 6.3 over coordinating professionals. So the coordinating professional is a licensed professional engineer, architect, or landscape architect recognized as such by the project owner. A coordinating professional is needed when more than one professional is involved with the project. So a coordinating professional will be needed if there are two professional engineers, one professional engineer and one architect, two architects, and so on. So going over the coordinating professional's role, first is to coordinate communication between the design professionals related to technical documents on the project, to act as the project liaison with the governing building official, and to verify that all design disciplines involved in a project are working in coordination with one another and that any changes made to the design are approved by the corresponding discipline. So the coordinating professional must use the following language in conjunction with their individual seal for identification as the coordinating professional. So it'll say I, your name, and the coordinating professional on in the name of the project. So over to the right, you can see an example from Jane Doe, who is the professional engineer, showing their information for the seal as well as the language. So the coordinating professional seal doesn't indicate responsible charge or direct supervision of the work. Their seal and language signifies that they are the main point of contact for code officials or other professionals and should be on the cover sheet of all technical documents. All right, next we are going to review technical submissions. So the board continues to see many plans that are not in compliance with Board Rule 6.5. Technical submissions language was added to the handbook in the 2022 rules revision. The board's position with this is the information would help the general public, building officials, state agencies, and other entities identify the individuals and organizations that prepare the work and how to contact them. So,
Hey, Allison, I'm going to go back to a couple of questions really quick, if that's okay.
yeah, of course.
So we had a question of where it is placed. So basically, the coordinating professional text box should follow your seal.
Right.
And then,
Yep, I can go back to the example too. Yep, so you'll have the seal here, and then just right below it, we'll have that language to identify the coordinating professional.
and then there's another question, are coordinating professionals optional? Again, John, if there is more than one licensee involved in a project, it is required to have a designated coordinating professional. Can the coordinating professional be the same as the sealer? Absolutely. If there's, it should be one of the licensees involved in the project. Rick, to answer your question of is the coordinating professional stamp required on projects in Nebraska? Yes, that is a Nebraska rule. I'm not sure if any other states require this as well. Does every project that is sealed by more than one professional need the coordinating professional identified? Yes, Greg. Again, if there is more than one licensee involved in a project, there has to be a coordinating professional designated. We don't necessarily care, the board doesn't necessarily care where exactly the text box identifying the coordinating professional is on the plans. It just needs to be on the paper somewhere on the sheets. Okay, let's take a second to answer some more of these.
Okay.
Let's go back up to, hold on one second. Okay, let's see. Can it just not be a text box that states coordinating professional? No, Rule 3.4 specifically states that it needs to have, the coordinating professional needs to have the language identified that's on the screen. If two discipline separate sets of plans, if it's two sets of plans for the same project, again, if there is more than one licensee involved in a project, there has to be a coordinating professional identified. CA number, we're going to go over certificate of authorization numbers here in a little bit. Again, more than one licensee on a project, there has to be one coordinating professional for the project. This is to direct people of who to contact if they have a question about a project. So if there are multiple parties involved in a project, between those parties, somebody has to be identified as the coordinating professional. The coordinating professional needs to be licensed in Nebraska. Yes. They would be practicing engineering or architecture, I would assume. Coordinating professional have to be the same person as the seal holder. No. The seal and box about the coordinating professional needed on the cover of a plan set. I believe we say it follows the seal. But I'll double check that. Again, Heather, I think I answered this before, an interior designer. No, the coordinating professional states they must be a licensed individual. So it needs to be an architect, an engineer, or a landscape architect at this time. Pamela, those doing the design still need to be licensed. If it's a non-exempt project, then yes, they have to be licensed to do the design. All right, Allison, I'm going to take a look at some other questions if you want to keep going.
Yep. Just let me know if you need me to pause or anything. All right, so we're going to skip a few slides forward. All right, so we're starting to cover technical submissions and what they require and why they're required. We want to make sure that anyone looking at the work knows who prepared it and how to contact them. So the board developed this rule, which requires that technical submissions that constitute the practice of architecture or engineering shall include both, 1, the name, and 2, the address or location. And this information is required on 1, each drawing, and 2, the cover page and or first page of specifications, reports, studies, and other documents. So, again, this is required on all technical submissions. If any of the information is missing, your plans are not in compliance. And so, reminder, the improper sealing of plans on non-exempt projects violates the act, which potentially could lead to discipline by the board. So let's go into a little bit further on these.
Hold on a second, Allison. So we have a question of the address of the project or the professional. So 651 specifically is regarding the project. We will go to the rest of Rule 6.5 that describes other information, but 651 is specifically the project's name and or location, sorry, address and location.
Yep. And so then when looking at the address or location, it's very important to be as specific as possible. So if a street address hasn't been determined, a legal description is allowed. Again, the purpose of this, we want to ensure any reasonable person can find the project with the information given. So additional information is also required depending on whether the work is or is not being performed through an organization. So first, we're going to look at if the work is not being performed through an organization. So if that's the case, the technical submissions must include the licensee's name and the licensee's contact information. So their contact information should include their address and phone number. All right, so up here we have on the left some drawings, on the right an engineering report, and these are going to be examples of what the documents must look like if the work is not being performed through an organization. So when looking at the drawings on the left, it has the licensee's name, their contact information, and their seal, as well as the project name and the project location or address on each page. So that's what each page drawing is going to look like. And then the right illustrates the project title and the project address and location on the first page, as well as the licensee's seal, name, contact information on the cover page and on the first page, or on the first page of specifications, reports, studies, and other documents, as well as ensuring that it is also on the last page.
Okay, so before we move on, there's a couple of questions.
Yep.
Read, the definition of reasonable is the most exact address that you can give. If there is an exact address, that would be ideal. If one hasn't been established, you can do the major cross streets if possible, longitude, latitude. Again, the most specific address that you can do. Lisa, we're going to go over, we have a chart that shows exactly the breakdown of all the seals and such. But for specifications, you do the first and last page of your part. So if you're an electrical engineer and you're doing the electrical design or calculations, whatever it is, you seal the first and last page of your part that you do. I'm gonna let Allison keep going because I think that she can answer questions with the rest of this presentation.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to look at technical submissions if the work is being performed through an organization. So the technical submissions must include the organization's legal name or doing business as, the organization's contact information, and the organization's certificate of authorization number. If you need help finding your organization's CA number, on our website, we have the licensee lookup feature. If you just select that and type in their name, it should bring it up, and that will give you their CA number. All right, so we have another example of technical submissions, except this is if the work is being performed through an organization. So on the left, we have drawings again. On the right, engineering report. On the left, you can see the drawings have the project name, project address or location, the licensee's name, the organization's name they're doing business as, the organization's contact information, organization's CA number, and the licensee's seal. And this is going to be on each page of the drawing. And then the right illustrates the project title, project address or location, the licensee's name, the organization's name they're doing business as, organization's contact information, organization's CA number, and the licensee's seal on the cover page, as well as the licensee's seal on the last page of the document. So this is showing how each of these is to be sealed and the information included for an organizational technical submission. And then so lastly, another new rule deals with the usage of standard details like those prepared by a city's utility or transportation division. So if sealed standards such as drawings, details, and specifications prepared by a jurisdiction are used in a project, the name of the jurisdiction which prepared the standard shall be noted on the technical submissions. And then here is that chart that shows the information required by state law on technical submissions. So I know we had a few people asking about this.
All right, we have some questions, so let's leave this up and I'll try to go through some of those while people take a look at this.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me go backwards. Organization versus non-organization. Marvin, we can't tell you if you're an organization or not. I've always been told if you're submitting your income through your social security number, that would not be an organization. If you're submitting it through any other tax ID number, it would likely be classified as an organization. Pamela, first and last page apply to all project documents. The chart should answer your questions here. Every page of plans need to include the project's name, address, and also contain the licensee's information. So again, if you are a true sole proprietor, each page is going to have the project's name, the project location, the licensee's name and licensee's contact information, as well as their seal. If you are doing work through an organization, those plans will have the project's name, the project location, the organization name, organization contact information, the organization's certificate of authorization number, and then the licensee seal, signature, and date. I think we've answered most of these other ones. So if I don't, please re-enter them into the chat towards the end, and we'll get those in during the questions section.
And so Craig, the presentation is available in PDF format. If you go to the webinar information page, there will be webinar materials and it will have them in a PDF format and also have it so you can take notes. Will an overview be on your website or next publication? Generally, we might put a few informational bits in there, but we will also make sure that this webinar is posted to our YouTube channel so people can address it. Additionally, if you are having a hard time finding the PDF of it, my contact information is at the end, and I'll be glad to send you that. And then we'll be sure to publish the webinar link on our website as well as social media and a few other methods so people know.
Matthew had a question. If an organization has multiple Nebraska offices, do you need a CA number for each office? It's per the organization. So if you have 5 different offices, but they're all doing business as the same organization, no, you don't. You only need one CA number. If it's every office is technically their own entity, then you would likely need a CA number for each of those. Again, board members or staff can tell you for certain because we don't know the complexity of your organization. So if you have questions, we would encourage you to reach out to your legal counsel or others that can support you in making that decision for what's best.
Right, so I'm just putting our YouTube information in there. And then lastly, we are going to go over the update to the Public Works Exemption Level. So the exemption level for public works projects must be adjusted every 5th year. The last such adjustment was made at the board's June 2019 regular meeting and went into effect July 1st, 2019. And so at the board's June 7th meeting this year, they voted to adjust the public works projects exemption level from $118,000 to $144,000. And this will go into effect July 1st, 2024. And so this means that on public work projects where the total expenditures don't exceed $144,000, licensed architects and professional engineers are not required to be involved in the project's design or construction. So that is all we got for everyone. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. Also, here's my information if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint slides or any handbooks or other documents or any other questions. There's my information. Feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call.
I'm going to answer a few questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. This just took off. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Somebody asked, are you allowed to have a single stamp page at the beginning of spec books with everyone's stamps and sections for which they're responsible? Not according to the rules. Each person needs to stamp and seal with their signature and date the section in which they're responsible for. You can have them all on the same page or the front page, but it's also required per each of their sections as well. Kurt, I'm not familiar what a needs assessment entails, so I don't know how to answer your question. Examples of public works projects. To our understanding, public works projects, I don't believe there's a definition, but these are things that cannot be measured by square footage, like dams, bridges, things of that nature. So if an entity is required to have an engineer and does not, for example, they do $1 million project and just hire a contractor, what are the ramifications? If the board is notified of the project and finds that the project constitutes the practice of architecture and engineering, we will open a complaint to investigate the project further. Typically, the board will require remediation and require the project owner to engage the required licensees. If they choose not to, the board has other options like holding formal hearings, going to court, things of that nature, fines, penalties, etc. So they do have options. Typically, the goal is just to bring the project into compliance. Let's see. I think that's it for what I have. Like Allison said, if you have additional questions, oh, hold on, I just saw some more. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to Allison or myself. My email is similar. It's nbea.compliance. and we will hopefully get you the information that you need. Thank you, everybody, for coming.